Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am so excited about this video because I'm actually going to do something that I have been dreading for so very long. And I'm sorry, Bella next door is barking right now, but she has been barking for a little while, so I just had to start. But I am going to be repotting one of my Alocasia. In the past, I've shared with you an Alocasia Regal Shield that I've had for 3.5 years now. This is the first year that it's gone dormant and it's starting to come back now. But what I want to do is I want to make it into 2 plants. And I have been dreading doing this repot only because the roots at the bottom are just extreme. And then at the top, she already started sprouting. I tried a little something. Let me show her to you so you see what I'm talking about. Oh my goodness, this plant is so heavy. Yeah. So this is my Regal Shield. There's the top of her, and you can see that she's about to spit out her first flower. And not flower, hopefully there's no more flowers. And I say hopefully because the flowers on this plant really stink. They stink so badly, and they literally smelled up my whole bedroom. Before she went dormant, she put out 5 flowers. Well, she put out 3 flowers. 2 of them were double blooms. And so when I tell you the fragrance was strong, it was really strong. And it's not a beautiful fragrance. It is almost like your dog did something terrible and they just walked away. So anyway, you see that her stalk is really, really big. Like I said, I've had her for years. I do have this cup with substrate in around the base of it because I was hoping to kind of make it so that it would start rooting, but I didn't put moss in there, so I don't really think that worked. I don't see that it worked. It did push out this this part of it after I put this around it, so obviously it did help it a little bit, I think, but it's not because, but I don't think there are any roots in there. So what I want to do today is I want to cut this top portion and then allow the bottom portion to regrow. Since we are doing a countdown to springtime, I thought this was the perfect time to do it. And because I made myself accountable by telling you guys I need to repot this thing. So I'm really excited about this, and I love this plant so much, and I was really sad when it went dormant because, like I said, it's never gone dormant before, but after it put out those blooms, it literally just, well, that's not true. Now that I think about it, after it put out those blooms, it put out a really small leaf. Well, it was small for this plant. It was, let me put this down. The leaf that came out was about this long and about that wide. And for this plant in particular, that's really small. And so and then a plant fell on it because I didn't water it. And so when I touched it, it just toppled over and fell. And it kind of damaged the leaf. And so I had to cut it off. And after that, it was just like, okay, I'm done. So I guess I can't say that it went dormant as much as I kind of forced it into the dormancy. Okay, so I don't have a mat down. I don't have anything. I'm just going to do this. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this this cone. I didn't even bring a bag. I have a little pot over here. And I'm putting these gloves on as if it doesn't have all holes in the top of it, but it'll protect my hand somewhat. My nail polish already has to be redone, so it's okay. I'll do it after this. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. So here we are. And as I suspected, there's nothing in here. Oh, look at that. Ah! Look at that. You see that? Where is it? Right there. There's a little sprout right there. So it did work. This looks horrible, but... And you know, I've been trying to avoid showing you the roots on this plant. Don't revoke my license to buy plants, please, which I don't have one, but you know. Look at this. This is what the inside of this is doing. It has been in this pot for so long. So, what am I about to do with this? Oh, there are roots taking place up here. There are definitely roots. So I'm going to cut it right where I see some roots. I kind of wanted to cut it up here though. I didn't want to cut it down there. Okay, how about if I pull it out of here to see what's happening? Do you guys see why I didn't want to do this? I really didn't. See, this is just so extremely big at the base. No, come on, go with the plan. Oh, I should have done this outside. My poor vanity. And they're coming. This is making me laugh too much. Okay. So here you are. Everything is firm. Everything is good. Little baby, I don't know how you've been surviving your mama. I really don't. I don't know how you survived me. I'm just happy that you do. Okay, so here we have it. You see over here, I have some roots up at the top, but I think I want to cut this top portion to right here, and I am going to do that. I'm going to try to chop it right there because there are so many growing eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 growing eyes down here, and I kind of want those to all take effect. So I have one little small pruner right here, and I am hoping that this will cut this right here. That's not going to cut that. Okay, we need a knife. Yeah, I definitely need a knife. Do I have a knife up here? Oh, I do. Okay, I have a knife, but I need to clean it. Okay, I don't know if I got anything in my coffee. Hey, where's my alcohol? Okay, so I have my alcohol back here. So I don't know when the last time was that I used this. Okay. Okay, so my knife is nice and clean now. I have it braced up on the side here, and I'm just gonna cut. No, don't ring. Did you guys see that coming? Okay, so here you have it. And I see a little bit of molding happening around the base of this. Oh, look at that. There's a new sprout coming right there. Yay. And I am going to have this part grow in this vase right here. And I am going to use my Leca perlite mixture, which I don't have it right now because for some reason there was no Leca in the store when I went yesterday. Not Leca, there was no perlite. And then I think I'm going to put the base of this plant into a really chunky bark because I have to water, I have to just like really make sure this is always being cleaned down. So I'm trying not to do too much with this base because the roots are fine. The roots are absolutely fine. So I don't really want to do too much with the roots of this because obviously it has a lot to recover from. With Me has his mama. So how about this? I'm going to lift this up. I did lose some of the roots, but I actually trim the roots of my plants a lot. So I'm not nervous about that. So this is not attached. And there was a reservoir of water underneath here. So you can see a little bit more. Nice room temperature water that this plant is already used to. I like to make good use of it. So I am going to go downstairs and I'm going to get a little bit of cinnamon to apply to this part of the plant as well as this part of the plant, and I'm going to let this just settle for a little while before I put it into the substrate. I may have to go out and get some perlite anyway, so how about that? I will allow this to crust over while I go out and get perlite. And I'm gonna let this sit in the water while I'm doing that. And now the soil that I just took this out of, I am going to put it outside in my compost bin because this soil hasn't been changed in some time. And so I don't feel comfortable using it right now. I don't feel that there will be enough in here, but I am going to sift through and I'm going to look for some corms. Okay, so I am back from the store and we did go corm hunting and we found one corm. And my husband is working on something outside, so it's gonna be a little noisy, guys. But we did find one nice big corm. So if anyone is looking for a Regal Shield, I can send this corm to you if you'd like. Right there, I'm just gonna put this here. And you can just tell me below if anyone's interested and wants to grow a Regal Shield for the springtime. Take my glasses off. Okay, so I have my perlite and so now I have all of my substrates that I need to do my repotting. And for the perlite, I normally use the Vigoro because I find that the chunks of perlite are just a little bit bigger than the Miracle-Gro. And so I really like that one. I went downstairs, I've already cleaned it and I brought some up. So it's already rinsed through so it's not so dusty. And for the larger stump part of the Regal Shield, I use orchid bark, and I've tried using the bark that you put outside, but it just doesn't work out the same for me. And so I always buy the Special Orchid, Better Grow Special Orchid Mix, but the last couple of times I purchased the Phalaenopsis Orchid Mix, and they're just a little bit different. And I usually buy 2 bags, and I have the 2 of them mixed together. They're almost the same, but they have a little something different. One of them has Chunky Peat. This is the Phalaenopsis Orchid Mix. The Chunky Peat, Fiber Bark, Charcoal, and Coarse Perlite, whereas the Special Orchid Mix has Fir Bark, Charcoal, and Coarse Perlite. So whereas this one has 3 different ingredients, this one has 4. And so I get both of them and I put them together. And of course you treat hot water, and then I mix it with just a little bit of the cocoa coir or soil. I don't buy any of those substrates. What I do is I simply, when I repot plants, when they come into my house, I simply keep the soil. I either put it into my, I don't usually put it into my compost bin. I usually put it into a container that kind of acts like a compost bin inside, but it's just with newer soil with what do you call it? The fertilizer balls that are still active. But this is what my mixture looks like. A very chunky mix for me is very important for my Alocasia because they do have to be washed often, but they don't suffer from root rot if you just have it in a really chunky mix. Okay, so we're gonna start off with the easy part, which both of them will be easy now because everything is already prepared. I didn't put any cinnamon on the base of this, but now it's nice and healed over. It's not like dry, but it is nice and healed over. And I just put a little bit of alcohol on my hands before I did this because I really don't want to take any chances at having such a big open wound getting something in it. So this is what I am going to just put into my container. Now I was thinking to do no drainage and put it into this vase, but I don't think I will. Because this gets so big so quickly, it's gonna outgrow that too quickly for me to have it in no drainage. So I'm just gonna put it into this tall one. This will be a lot more room for the roots to have a little something. And this one does have drainage. I don't know if I said this one has no drainage, but this has lots of room for the roots to go wild. So all of my perlite will go into this. And I left my scooper. It's okay, I'll use this cup. Left the scooper. And that is 2 floors down if I go get it. By the time I get back up here, I may just say, okay, let me put this off again. Let me bring you down just a little bit more. And I am putting this way down in this perlite. And I like to press the perlite because I know that this will settle and the perlite stays nice and airy, so I don't have to worry about it compacting. I'm looking forward to seeing your beautiful leaf, darling. Now sometimes I'll add just a little bit of leca to the top of my drainage perlite mixtures, but I don't even think I need to with this one because the leca is normally to stabilize it or just to make sure that there isn't a lot of water collecting around the base of the actual stem. But because this has a nice big chunk, I don't even need anything. This is all that I need to do. And of course, this is semi-hydro, so I will water it through today with some of my mixture that I have been using to give my baby something to drink, and she will go in a cover pot, and that's it. So now she's repotted. Yay, yay, yay. And it sits up nice. It doesn't bend over even on its own. I'm so happy about that. Okay, everything in here is covered in the soil from that last plant. Okay. So now I will put this in with the big pot of my cleaned perlite, and I will show you the bottom portion. Don't get shocked. I did cut the roots, and I'm going to tell you why I cut the roots so drastically. Normally with this plant, all the time that I've had it, I always prune the roots. Whenever I repot it, which it was often, I was repotting it often, I always prune the roots back. And for this time, I mentioned to you that I got 1 corm out of the soil of this. Normally, I get between 18 and 25 corms out of this plant. So I know that this plant is not okay with what's going on with it. And even when I'm forgetting to water it, doing all kinds of things, it has never given me 1 corm. So, but normally I prune the roots on a regular basis. This was a drastic prune. But I do find that once I prune the roots, when I go back into the pot, there's always a ton of corms. And so I just pruned the roots. It doesn't have any foliage to work on, so this is the perfect time to give it a nice trim. And this is what works for me, just to give it a nice pruning of the roots instead of just having old roots that are kind of spent. And so they don't really produce as many corms. So, because I was shocked that there was only one that we found anyway. And we did look pretty thoroughly, but just 1 corm. So let's see. As far as a pot for this one, this is the pot that it was in. This is maybe 10, 12 inch pot. But then I do have these right here. Let's see. I think this is an 8-inch pot. I think that might be too small. I think I may just be going in right back in with this one because the roots on these grow so quickly. So I think I will just go back in here, and especially since I'm using this incredibly chunky mixture, I don't think it'll be a problem. So let me pull my mixture up here, and we'll stop potting it up. And I did add the cinnamon to the top of this one as well. I love the smell of cinnamon. Okay, and now spread out the roots. And I'm going to be holding this in the air a little bit because I want to let everything fill in around it without it being flat. It was really nice when my son was going through the soil with me, the old soil, he said that he felt very relaxed going through the soil. And I told him about the hormone that your body releases when you are dealing with dirt or soil. So I said, that's the reason that you feel so relaxed. It's not a mistake. It was designed that way. Which is why people get so addicted to gardening. That calming, it's such hard work, but it's just such a nice calming thing. Okay. I think my son might like this one right here, but I'll leave it in there. Okay. I actually really love the way that the orchid bark looks with these, with the Alocasia. I think it looks so cute. I like it with the leca as well. I've been doing a lot of leca, but that's to be blamed on Lisa because Lisa has been doing a lot of leca. And of course, Mama Long said that she's back to her leca now. So I love leca. I think it looks so beautiful. It's it has the same appeal to me as a clay pot. I really like some plants just to be in clay pots, and this is the rustic appeal that it gives. Okay, so this is a big piece of a chunk to leave out of this, but I think that'll be perfect. I'm trying to think if I should put any more on there, but I won't, because the growing eyes, I see a growing eye there as well as here. So I'm going to just leave it just like that. And it looks like everything is good inside of here. Perfect and ready. And this was soaking in water, so I'm not going to water this at all today. I will water this one with my mineral substance and put it into a cover pot so it can sit a little bit, because I want the perlite to stay nice and wet since there are absolutely no roots on that. But for this one right here, I won't water this because it was sitting for so long, so the roots are completely hydrated. Yay. So I didn't use up too much of my substrate. I think I will probably, the next time I go out to the store, I will get another 2 bags and fill it up in here. And I really like these fibers right here. I can't remember which one of the bags this right here comes in, but this holds on to a lot of moisture, which is really, really good. Okay. So there are my 2 potted plants. And I did have one more that I wanted to tackle. I wanted to tackle my plant up here. Maybe I'll just do it very quickly. Please stay with me, guys. Because I just didn't want to do this, but this one's going to be quick. This is the next baby I need to handle. And this one is really going to be a repot, and I'm going to take these stems and push them down into the soil. And I want it to be in a standing pot, not a hanging pot. This plant for me just does better when it's in a standing pot. So I already have a pot sitting right here for it. This is the pot that I'm going to be putting it into. And I'm actually thinking about, to make it more shallow, I am thinking about putting the clay liner, this base for it down here, because there is still a gap on the sides where the water can escape. I won't do it. I won't take a chance, because if I forget about it, that'll be a problem. So I won't do it. What I'll do is I'll fill the base of this with orchid bark, and so it won't matter if the pot is a lot deeper than what it's used to. So I will just pull my orchid bark back over here. And I'm literally just going to pick up that plant and put it over here. I've never repotted this plant. This plant just breaks apart so easily. I'm going to start keeping it nice and short. I'm not going to let it grow out like this. I plan on losing a lot of leaves when I do this. I think it was Grandma Hammer who asked me if I had any of my plants that are not my favorite or that I don't really love. And I went through and I went through and I went through and I looked at all my plants and I said, oh, I love all my plants. This is the only plant that I would say is a challenge plant for me. Well, I guess I have two now because I have a cactus that I actually thought I got rid of. I asked my husband just to put it into the compost bin at the end of the season last year. But all through the winter, the bag that it was in, I guess my sons thought it was something that was staying because there was a plant in it. He didn't get rid of it. I looked in the bag, and in the heart of the cold winter, the plant was thriving. It just put on a fuzzy coat and it was thriving. So I said, okay, if you're holding on like this, I can't get rid of you, but you can't be in my house. And you don't have to be in my house if you can take it like this. So I just picked up the pot and I just put it in my greenhouse. And it still has its fuzzy coat on, but it's losing its coat now that it's getting really warm in the day. Okay, so here we go, guys. Here we go. Oh, I am not looking forward to this. Now, from what I understand, to repot these, it's best to do it when the plant is dehydrated because the plant does not shed as many of its leaves when it's dehydrated. Because normally by now, if this was hydrated, these things would be everywhere. Oh, I just heard one snap. I see it, but that's okay because this is what we're doing here. This is like so dehydrated. See how this is all of this empty space, but they will root very, very easily. Where are you going? So I'm going to snip off anything that isn't healthy, and everything else will be put back. I'm just going to keep it nice and short. I'm not going to let it get long like this anymore. I've been waiting to actually get flowers on this before I do this, but I've waited long enough. So you see how this is, and you can actually see the little roots already developing on this. Everything is just going wild now that spring is here. And I'm not upset about it. Let me just trim that dry part. And I'm just going to put them into the soil, just like that. And this is another one. I'm not going to re-wet this right away because if I wet it, it's not going. There's something about it where with cactus or succulents, you're not supposed to like water them through right away. Although this is pretty dehydrated, I may have to. I think I may have to water this one through. Okay, so over here, you see they're just snapping right off. I'm just taking the whole stem. I still think this is a little long, but I'm gonna let it do what it does first, and then I will do something else. And I'm just noticing that I never put my gloves back on. Silly me. And then when it's time for my manicure, I am going to have a mess on my hands. It takes me so long to get all of the soil from underneath my nails. I hope this works, but if it doesn't, I tried. I'm just going to take this and put it right over the top and just bring it around. How about that? Maybe that'll be easier. Just take it, bring it around. Okay, so here it is. I like the way this looks already. I really do. This will be a great thing to grow out and put this right on my patio because it will be sitting right in the sun so it can get lots and lots of sunlight and lots of summer rain, spring rain. So this is perfect. And they started to snap off a lot. And so I just ended up making sure all of the little pieces that came off, all of the leaves, they all ended up in the pot. And I think this will work out. And I just want to let it can grow like upward and be chunky, but I'm not gonna let this grow back down. I did the very same thing. I took some of my string of pearls and I don't want it to trail anymore. I just want it to stay in the pot. So what I did was I took some of it and I just put it around the pot. It's starting to trail all over again, but that's okay. For this spring, this is what I want to grow. And I just want it to be a nice little round kind of bush that is just string of hearts, because they get so tangled. And if it's tangled, I feel like I have to detangle it. And so this will just work out for me. So I was able to do this one. And I have this one. Isn't that going to be a nice big leaf? Look at how big that is. And then the great big regal shield that I think this is going to be the winner for this week, for this year, for this spring. I love this plant. This is literally a plant that I've had for 3.5 years now. Second big plant that I purchased. My Bird of Paradise was the first one. This is the second one, and it's just always been something that I just love so much. Thank you guys so much. If I didn't do this with you guys, I don't think I would have gotten it done. So now I'm gonna go and do my nails. Look at my poor nails. Oh. I'm gonna go do my nails, and after I clean up this mess, because I definitely have a big mess. Thank you for joining me. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here to watch this video, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Bye.